Most of you know Call of Duty Mobile better than you know most things in your life. You know the maps, you know the guns, you know the game modes, you know all the rotations. Not only do you know what's in the game right now, but you also know what's coming to the game in the next 3 months. But there are parts of Call of Duty Mobile that most of you probably don't know. There was a time when only people with an Android phone and an Indian VPN were able to play the game. So while most of you might know what's going on in the game right now, today we're going to be taking a look at some things that most of you probably never knew about the game. The first thing you didn't know about Call of Duty Mobile is that there were actually 2 betas for the game. The first one took place in India and was only available for players with an Android, which meant that you need to use an Indian VPN in order to access the game. The second one started out in Australia, which meant you need an Australian VPN, and then it actually expanded over toward Canada, which made it more accessible to people in North America. The second thing you didn't know is that in the beta, it was actually easier to get COD points than it was to get credits, because there weren't a whole lot of different crates and things available in the game for you to be able to obtain credits. And COD Mobile actually gave you 6,000 COD points upon launch. That meant you were free to spend them on whatever you wanted to, especially since the store looked a whole lot different then than it does now. This brings us to our next thing, which is that there are actually skins that are only in the game for players that played the Australian beta, because unlike the Indian beta, stats and items from the Australian beta carried over into the global launch of the game. This is part of the reason that Ferg was able to maintain being #1 ranked so easily in Season 1, because he had grinded all the way to the top in the beta, and at that point it was just a matter of maintaining. But in regards to items, you'll see a number of skins right here that were only available in the beta version of the game, and as such are some of the rarest skins in the game because they can no longer be purchased. The fifth thing that you didn't know about Call of Duty Mobile is that the hipfire used to be broken. Do you remember how the blue steel Arctic 50 used to have a glitch where the hipfire basically had no spread? That is assuming that you were standing still. That's how every gun in the game used to be, regardless of whether or not you were moving. The hipfire spread was so small that it honestly made the current cordite spread look massive. There was pretty much no need to ever ADS, because you could take an M21 and just spray it across the map without ever needing to ADS and still hit the majority of your shots. This brings us to the sixth thing that you guys didn't know, which is that the S36 actually used to be even more broken than it was in Seasons 1 and 2 of Call of Duty Mobile. The combination of the fact that you have almost no hipfire spread, along with the fact that it had even less recoil than it had during Seasons 1 and 2, made this without a doubt the most broken gun in the game. Speaking of broken guns, you probably also didn't know, even if you did play the beta, that there's a quick in-between screen as you're transitioning from one screen to another whenever you're looking at loadouts that actually shows an AK with 100 power in every stat. Now, even though it doesn't show any type of a skin with this, it is possible that there is some secret hidden AK with 100 max stats on everything. Obviously, this would never be implemented into the game, but it does leave you to wonder how exactly this would play if you could actually use it in a game. On top of the operator screen looking very, very different, you probably also didn't know that the Purifier actually used to be named the Equalizer. However, multiplayer is not the only thing that has changed since the beta version of the game. The way that guns played at range in Battle Royale during the beta of the game was very, very different. As you can see, assault rifles actually had bullet drop. Now, when I talk about this, I'm not only talking about the fact that bullets travel, but you can see I'm having to aim significantly above the player in order to hit the shots. And the bullet drop for snipers used to be significantly higher than it is now for snipers as well. So that is gonna wrap it up for things that you didn't know about Call of Duty Mobile. If there are any OG beta players out there that might have thought of a couple things about the beta that I left out of this video, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and if we do make a part 2, I'll be sure to include those. But hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe to the squad if you haven't already. I'll see you guys